Sõna on Mauril ja Mauri räägib oma muusikastiilist.
Jah, suur rõõm olla siin teiega, aga kui sobib, vahetan inglise. Tekst on ka inglise keeles. A year ago I was talking about part of this same topic, but this project has gone forward, and I will just go very quickly the rules I was describing last year, and then I go forward. This project is actually very old because I was thinking about these things as a music student, and I wanted to compose not diatonic, and I was looking at Schönberg, and I always liked Schönberg's music, and the issue that came up to me was that why the heck am I hearing like diatonic cadenzas and leading tones and things in Schönberg? And I was studying the issue, but I never found my own expression, and after I retired 50 years later, I came back to this issue, and this started as a sort of a personal development project, but also as a research project, because I was able to, or I planned to apply my knowledge in cognitive science and psychology, and partly philosophy also, figuring out this thing. And for one thing, this is a composition project, but it's also a research project. The two things that I try to put together is like compositional structures, things I write in music, and how myself or somebody else might be experiencing them. So this is a kind of a phenomenological project as well. And I try to carry on in this article these two perspectives all the way through. This is written that way, but you can hear it that way, and Hans can hear it a different way. And that's what happens if art is ambiguous. So ambiguity is a key thing here. So I'm putting contrasting composed musical structure and constructive experience, and there's quite a bit of grounds of phenomenology. This picture, this idea, I'm sure some of you at least know this idea. This is from Husserl originally. Husserl was a guy that wanted to find formal basics of experience, and his idea is that at one time we are both conscious of what has happened a while ago and 50 years ago, and the potential is the anticipation for the future, and they are all present at the moment of nowness. And this was taken up again after like 100 years after Husserl, more than that, by people that looked to the neural and psychological and holistic basis of experience, and Francisco Varela is a key person here. Okay, but I'll skip that part. I want to go hurry to what I really want to talk to you, namely asynchronous polyphony that has inspired me last my last composition and my study. So Bi-hexaphony is it's about dodecaphony, obviously, but handled not like Schönberg, but by terms of dividing the 12 into two sixes, and they are obviously whole tone scales, and BHA means bi-hexaphonic alternation. So the whole style is based on the idea that this alternate, and alpha is always something like dominant for beta and vice versa, and they are chained together. And what happens is that there is no tonic. Well, basically, you can see if you analyze this, you can see there's A and C sharp, and you can basically see that goes to D major if you want to. But the issue is that there are several. It's polydominant all the time, and that's the key to the ambiguity. You can always track several ways to go from alpha to beta and vice versa. I was talking about this last year, and what happens is that the chain will remind it's be a chain of dominance, and eventually, if there are enough, it chains up to a circle of fifths, and that's the experience. It's kind of an illusion that you hear it, and you hear it even if it's not written. I talk about, and this I had last year also. I talk about hexaphonic cells, and that means horizontally. This red is an alpha cell. It's horizontally and vertically. It means alpha cells or beta cells that are in vertically at the same time co-occurring. This is not a good example. Here you see that they are co-occurring beta tones or pitches. And now, obviously, the intervals within such a cell are different. They are only those that are between the whole tone scale. There will be seconds, there will be major thirds, there will be augmented fourths or diminished fifths, or tritones, and augmented fifths, which is same thing as diminished sixths in this case, and sevenths, minor sevenths. And the property of these obviously is that if they are put in a sequence, there's no leading tone, or there's no indication for resolution of the dominant. So this is within a cell, the hexaphonic intervals. This is wrong here. They pile up the dominancy, the polydominancy in this context. And now I'm also trying to cut short the idea of this set exhaustion rules. That's basically the same idea Schönberg had, that he wanted to use up the whole row before going forward. But it's also it's more universal. It's in many kinds of music, and particularly in traditional diatonic music where there are lots of chromatic tones. There's a tendency to, or will or urged for the composer to use up the resources that are there. And this has been discussed in the literature. These people, By and Baker, already 1916 were talking about melodic wandering. And in Finland, Joonas Kokkonen was talking about the horror vacui, or the fear of the empty space. So different times and different composers have had ideas to this direction, which then was systematized by Schönbergi. Well, I write dodecaphonic music, but it's organized in a different way. The horizontal set exhaustion rule, which I call HXR, it's not strict. It says two things. The distance between temporal repetitions of a pitch class is to be as long as possible. Every C sharp on the horizontal line on the voice, it has to be as far apart as possible, and vice versa. It means that the set should be exhausted as compactly as possible in a time as short as possible. Okay, and there are many things about this, but this rule applies to many things. It also scales up to tops or bottoms of or turns of conspicuous tones in a long sequence. So the blue arrows point at another row here, which is subject to HXR also. But the key parameter is the cell length, how many tones of the hexaphone are used at one time. So this is 6. I call it L or lambda. Here it's the whole 6, but usually this is not a good solution. It's in a special situation. So if they are not all used at one time, then let's see where the picture is. Here. So the hex continues. It goes after there's the other hexaphone, or I call it antiphone, in the middle. So it jumps over the other hexaphone. So it sort of spreads the exhaustion or the distribution. And here's an image of a sequentially expanding cell length. So it starts from 1, L is 2, L is 3, L is 4, and there are all different kinds of effects you can imagine. Okay, then the vertical aspect, the vertical co-occurrence rule dictates that all tones that co-occur should belong to the same hexaphone. Schönberg didn't have this. I think he wanted to avoid this deliberately. But I also I have sometimes it's not like a strict rule if you want to have particular effects. There are appoggiature and suspensions like in diatonic music that can be done. This is something that has very much the effect of sustained tone, like in diatonics also, like Bach's sustained pedals. And mesophony is another effect. I use it to break too long hexaphones. This can be done. So okay, that's basically the rule I apply in terms of Bi-hexaphonic. And now I'd like to go forward if you don't want to ask or point out something.
If I may, in one of the first examples, if you could scroll a bit back.
Yes.
More. I think it was one of the first examples, I think. More. Yeah, this one, yeah.
Yes.
This illustration 4. There are repeating tones. The us, there is twice, and the ha or the b, the ha is also twice. And this reminds me a bit of how Nepo Sumara started experimenting with dodecaphony techniques when it was not really common knowledge, and so I wanted to draw a little comparison to
thanks. Yes.
To Sumara, and then I had a question. Go please a bit further.
Up or down?
Where are the arrows? The arrow scheme. No, further. Yeah, this one. I still didn't understand what the arrows are indicating.
They indicate another voice, basically. It's an emergent voice. It's sort of a child voice of the soprano here, or the flute, actually.
They start at high notes, but the third.
If you follow the tops, follow the tops.
Yeah, but the third arrow doesn't show a top note, but it shows a low note.
There are it basically points out that some notes that are somehow conspicuous.
Okay.
And here it's the sort of a backbeat of this.
Okay.
I understood that when I look at the image, I thought that they mean that every time when the hexa is changing, because it's a green, red, green, red, green, red. Okay.
Yeah, but the third arrow again stands out and shows something else. So I was confused a bit.
It's a perceptual effect. Sorry.
Last arrow is then a mistake because it's not changing.
Which is third arrow goes to the ha.
Where?
The arrow number 3, if you count from left side. Arrow 1, arrow 2, and arrow 3 shows from the alpha hexaphone.
Here.
See, hush. Yeah.
It points at the backbeats of this gesture.
It's just metrical.
So
I think it looks like just metrical because other explanation make no sense.
is it metrical, or has it to do with the hexa?
Now I'm not following.
Yeah.
Well, we don't understand exactly what are the blue arrows.
It could be anything that is perceptually
Okay.
like you can here will pick up a different thing than.
You didn't actually. You didn't. In my view, you jumped too fast to this.
Yeah,
so
okay.
we didn't get that cognitive level of perception. Level of perception here.
They are like emergent voices in a way. Okay. And the idea is that the rules also apply to them. So if possible, I order them also to follow the HXR and also like good voice leading and set them.
Of course, the question is if it's some psychoacoustic voice. I don't remember what was the correct term for that. Then I would expect that we have only the highest notes from a certain group. That means then if this is violin clef, then you have G flat, G, then A flat, A, and B flat, A flat, G flat, and then of course the D sharp and the B natural. So and that was I think what confusing.
But these are, I said, they are like possible perceptual,
but then it's a metrical perception. So if we stress every third of this 12/8 measure, probably I don't see any measure.
Can I ask also? As you make your technique in some this kind of collection of sounds, I named this as collections of sound, and these two collections are complementaire.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And it is actually when it is collection of tones in whole tone scale manner, as I understand it. This collection logic is that second collection is second sixth note.
Yeah,
so when you now start to compose, what kind of logic or what kind of strategy you have to actually take these pitches for this? Because now I hear very different things. So because when we talk about dodecaphony, for me, maybe I make mistakes. So dodecaphony, in very rigorous manner, is not a collection of tones, but it is raw.
Yes.
So it is some kind of determination of tones.
Yes.
What is now your strategy?
I'm hurrying up to that point.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
I'm coming there soon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is there something else? That's the experiential aspect, the blue arrows. But I'll go to the vertical aspect. This is the VXR, and this is how it basically works. The green ones belong to one hexaphone, but this is a suspension. The red is a suspension from the alpha to the beta. Yes, and I already mentioned these. So, talking about experiential experiences, this is a hypothesis that tensions are bodily felt things. It's an action of the body to feel musical tension or narrative tension, and it is something that you can measure, and there are measurements like that. So it's sort of a bodily aspect of an experience, and that's why I talk about experiential tensions, and I talk about them within this level, within the cell level, but also in broader levels. And the easiest part is the completion tension, which means that when you listen to Schönbergi, you expect to hear the 12, and you try to pick them from what you hear. But when you have 6, you learn quite quickly that there's some tone missing now, what I hear, and you are expecting it. This is one aspect of completion tension. It's sort of a schedule of what's happening here. I know that the transition to the other cell is approaching like it's a little bit like the cadenza. It's collecting the dominant power, and the completion tension is the schedule of what's happening. And it's I will show some there are mechanisms how this happens, and this is descending. The tension is first high when you know that there's going to be a sequence of things, and it goes down when it has happened, and then it resets again, and you start counting these. I mentioned the row of 12. Now, this Miller's law from the 50s in psychology, the idea is that the short-term memory can handle items, 6, 7, 8 items, but not more. And that's now it's an issue for 12, but it's you can handle the 6. So my claim is that it facilitates understanding this, but this kind of dodecaphony. If I may, I go to the other kind of tension, which is crucial here. Now, within a cell, as I showed, these tones that belong to it, they pop up. They are introduced in different times or at the same time, and they are conflicting. If you listen to them with the diatonic ear, you make sort of a perceptual hypothesis that maybe this is a C7 here, and you start waiting for F major chord here, which comes here if you omit something else, and when you get closer to the transition to the other hexaphone, you have up to 6 hypotheses of what may happen, and I assume that you either pick some. Why you pick the one you pick depends on what you were listening to before in the previous cell, and you might have a line of sort of a mental voice leading that affects your listening. But you can also handle the whole thing if you want to. So there are like basically 7 options for every cell. You can make like different dominant hypotheses, or listen to the whole thing as like in jazz, or in there also in classical music there would be cases of this. So I'm not going to walk this anymore, but here's a picture that shows this idea that when you come to this transition, it's a sort of a supercharged release of the dominancy, because you can pick any tone of the prophone is the now phone, and it is in a dominant relationship to any tone of the coming antiphone. So this is these six are the tones that are leading to this A in the next one. And they here I go through the relationships these points out, like, but I am going through them. But now I'm getting where I'm aiming basically here. Is there some questions about this?
Yeah, you're talking about dominant. How you define dominant?
Dominant is like dominant in diatonics, but these are polydominants.
And as I have learned, dominant is defined as the maybe there are other definitions. There is the triad fifths over the tonic. What is the tonic? What is the triad over the root pitch? So.
Yeah, well, you can follow. Do you mean I'm talking about the root path?
Because if we talk about if we think it in the classical way, then if you talk about dominant, you have also to talk about tonic. So what is your tonic? What is your dominant? Or do you just define totally different?
No,
you don't
no.
talk about tonic and only about dominant. And
no, it's the very same way. So basically, in the prophone, you can pick the root and the third and the seventh, but there are no fifths. But those three are enough to make the effect of a dominant. So if you
what is the effect of a dominant?
It's the anticipation for the tonic.
Yeah, but of course
As functional, is your dominant definition functional?
Yes.
Harmonic.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's as functional harmonic.
Yeah. It's very classical.
Yes.
But it's hidden in the jungle of many dominants.
Mm-hmm.
So
your ear can pick
Yes.
One particular.
Of course, the interval of the fifths is between the hexachords.
Sorry.
Of course, the interval of the fifths is between the green and
yes, but
violet.
That's not part of the whole tone scale. There are no fifths, and it still works perfectly. You don't need the fifths. Yes.
Yeah, the alpha and the beta are whole tone scales.
Yeah, both
You
are.
want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, horizontally, of course. But
Yeah.
if you look at these illustrations, then there we have, of course, a fifth, of course, and many fifths. And if I look from D to A, then it is in fifth relation.
Oh.
Isn't it?
Oh, it's A flat actually. Yeah.
It's A flat,
Okay,
okay.
sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
But-
Yes.
Yeah, it cannot be a fifth.
Bad.
Yeah, no, but
There are some accidentals missing.
yeah, but
Yeah.
if we go from this, which note is it?
This should be D.
That's D.
It's a D, and then I go
It is
to
E.
A,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
it's a
Of
fifth.
course.
Yeah.
It's very normal dominant tonic.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Okay. Now there are
No, then there's the D is the subdominant of the A.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes.
We have
Yeah.
we
I'm
have
really
a
sorry
fourth also
missing
there.
the accidentals here. But okay, so there are fifth relationships between the cells, but not within. And that's the point. That's
it is not necessary, because when we have dominant in functional harmony, it is also two different collections of tones.
Yeah, that's right.
It is absolutely same logic. I understand it from very first example. What was first?
And there's one more question to this example.
Yes.
Sorry, one more question to this example. You just exemplify us that we should move alongside the green lines and to go to the A. Did I understand correctly that we could go to any other tone in the alpha as well?
Yes, that's right.
This is just one example you pick out for us, but we could see the same effect also if we would
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point.
It's an example of.
It's just one example we could do the same.
Now I understand. Dominant
Good.
is not defined by fifths. It's just you say that it's something like a psychoacoustic phenomenon. So if I hear that and here, then I should hear the chord in bar 6 has more tension than the chord in bar 7. Is it like this?
No, I'm not sure what you mean.
Yeah,
It's
because
of course
you
it's
have here,
psychoacoustic.
you show here a green arrow, what shows tension, and the arrow goes from bar 6 to 7.
We get an example here.
Maybe we could play it here.
Okay, I think we have to go a little bit more carefully through this. So I talk about transitive intervals. The transitive intervals are these that indicate in functional harmony. They indicate that they are between dominance and tonics.
I don't know this theory about transitive intervals.
Sorry.
I don't know this theory about transitive intervals.
It's my theory.
But you say about functional harmonic theory.
Okay, but
It's I tried to explain this more simplified, but I understand these two collections have actually relationship as dominant and tonic.
Yes.
Understand? I write these two collections, and it is polyfunctionality because you have more possibilities as in normal. So it is this kind of extension, some kind of extension of functional harmony.
That's right.
So I try to translate.
Okay, yes, of course, I understand that we have two tonal qualities. One is the green one, or what was alpha? It was green.
Alpha is the one with A.
Alpha is pink. So
red is
alpha is pink, and beta is green. So that is, of course, there are two different tonalities that I can really very nicely imagine that. But if I see here a tension, because maybe I need to know about the more context of this music. So because it's not clear for me why the arrow goes from left to right and not from right to left.
Yes, it would work the other way.
It is because it's hard to understand. Is this how to say is the tension goes up or goes down? Is this an increasing of tension or it's an decreasing?
It's an increasing tension here. Here it is. This is the same thing.
Why?
Because you compile. There are two main reasons. Because
Of course, I see here you build up the chord step by step. Of course, that grows something, but that is not harmonic growth. This is just a density growth.
Not only because it is missing of second collection, missing of something, build up tension. As I understand, as I try to understand now Mauri's logic, and maybe it is a little confusing to name these two collections as dominant and tonics. Maybe they are both in this function. So what
I don't. I'm talking two languages here. I'm talking about the technical language. They are alpha and beta. Collections. But for the experiencer, the homo diatonicus will hear them as a chain of dominance.
Yes, but they can be both. Actually, it depends only from context. As I understand.
Right. I understood the same.
Because you named this pink is dominant and green is tonics, and it is, as I understand now, Hans, confusing that how can be this, but it is also in modal music. You can go in from first to fifth, and it is actually relaxed.
Of course, I have another professor confused by myself using these terms in Poland peers, of course, but I explained it, how it works.
Hans' bad experience in childhood.
No, I don't want to make the same, the same mistake, and in my music, I try to mimic that.
Okay.
So this is it's a bit weird, of course. But here, if I see these two chords to each other, I cannot say which chord would have the higher tension, the green or the violet one. In a tonal music, in a tonal music piece. So there's no doubt, as we have learned to experience that, or as we have learned that we have the higher tension on the dominant, and then the tonic is the relaxation. So
yes, exactly. So there is no such thing. You cannot compare greens and pinks in that way. They are totally symmetric. But what's essential is the transition. That's sort of a quasi cadenza. That's a perceptual cadenza.
This is very interesting for if I compare it with my studies, but I have not published in this way. But of course if you get an illusion of that the green is the tonic and the violet is here in this. This is the relaxation. That is very interesting because I had the same problem if I constructed a cadential system from a microtonal system what has absolutely nothing to do with our tonality, where it's a system where the fifth is not in tune, where the octave is not in tune, where I have harmonic intervals by the major sixth and the tritone. And so I found out, of course, we can have these cadential progressions, but of course I had the problem. Also, other colleagues, like Professor Heido, I think he has said it, or I don't know, I might mix up with it. Of course, we cannot feel this tension relaxation from dominant to tonic. It is not possible to hear that, and I saw that problem by myself, and I made some compositional tricks. I let some figurative things of this chord what I want to, that it could act as a dominant. If it works like this or not, I don't know. This is just my pieces. They have no history, so no.
Put some vibrato in dominant.
Yeah. So, and then is the question for me.
Secondary parameter.
Yeah, then is the question. Might we have learned this tension between dominant and tonic just through secondary parameters, as Gerhard said, through form, through melody, through instrumentation, through whatever. So,
Yes, I agree, and it's interesting to hear that you are also looking for tension.
There's a question in the back.
Yes.
Yes, Arnold already a little bit mentioned that it depends on instrumentation.
Sorry, I can't hear.
Also a little bit mentioned that it depends on instrumentation. For example, if violin or string instrument is playing this alpha row and this beta row are can sound differently, not very natural because of natural or physical causes.
That's right.
This because strings always maybe not mitte teadlikult, kuidas see on.
Unconsciously.
Or there are some things that make some scales sound different. For example, D major is more up going, and so I guess if strings play these chords, then we saw more of these differences and maybe these.
That's super interesting, and
also wind instruments actually, because woodwinds. It's very childish to say that we just like very much with flats or these bemollidega helistikud, kuidas seda öelda?
Flats, keys with flats and keys with sharp.
With flats. But somehow this always sounds differently, these scales.
You mean it as an intonation topic? How?
Yeah, intonation.
How we intone, how we are used to intone. This is not written in the score, but it's intonation how to play it.
And we don't. We still are not equally temperate instruments.
Yeah. And also, And also now I got this clue that maybe this type of tension, it could be melody induced, and there we land up by Heinrich Schenker, who claimed that we have this Urlinie, and the Urlinie is the cause for the dominant for the function, and not vice versa. So
that's right.
Yeah. And here you have the E, and E goes down to D sharp, and that of course it's a semitone, but a small step down resembles us like this D, and that can also this cadential tension here.
They are not equally strong, and in a context, something gets reinforced and something is more obvious.
Yeah.
And also it depends on the person experiencing it. If I am hearing music, I tend to hear basses because I sing.
Yeah,
and she plays a string instrument. Then your perception is tuned to pick these things and prefer these in this sequence, and that makes you hear different lines than your neighbor.
Probably psychologically. So if you hear this posttonal music, so in this way, and then if you have never heard it before, then of course every brain tries to find similarities, even if they are not exactly there. Then starts to approximate.
I'm sure Mauri has some examples. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll play
today,
some examples
yeah.
later, so we can discuss maybe this.
That's right.
This experience.
May I say one more about this? What I call pseudo-cadential tension. It's also that the Homo diatonicus has learned to time these things also. So if you hear the C7 chord, you already know that you expect it to go to F major, but it's delayed because there are other pseudo dominants here. So it's also a timing issue.
You build up this kind of
secondary dynamic.
very clear.
Yeah. Okay. But now if this is the basis now to go forward. So I hope I have established to some degree that there's this sort of a pseudo cadential tension, which is not a compositional idea, but it's something that emerges in Western ears. Anders was asking about what comes instead of the Schönbergian row. Now, what I introduce is, at least to myself, is what I call asynchronous polyphony. And the idea is that there are, in different voices, there are patterns that are of different length. And they are in async, and they only meet at the end of the phrase. So they are they are phrase-to-phrase tensions, and that's another kind of tension. It's the completion tension expanded to the phrase level, and then I call the polyphony works so that I have a fixed phrase, which I compose. Okay, here in this case, this is a fixed phrase, and it's not a whole dodecaphony, but part of it. And this is the flexible phrase, and it has a different size of pattern. This is the length of 7/8, while this is the length of 3/8. And 3 times 7 is 21, right? So what happens here is that I have an asynchrony, but the fixed phrase determines the hexaphone of the other one, the flexible one. So it's sort of a it's like a cantus firmus in a sense. The other one goes according to this. So
but here in this cantus firmus is no some kind of row logic. So the concrete pitches you find intuitively, or how?
It's a composition. It's
okay.
It makes some
feeling.
sort of sense.
By feeling.
Yes,
okay.
It's just a composition. It's not from a row.
Yeah, of course. But it is these pitches are coming out by feeling.
Yes,
not by row, not by row.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That leads to another question. What I have, especially if I see, for instance, illustration 3. Of course, everything you demonstrate on the example of your own compositions, and then my question is, how you compose? Did you compose your pieces and then you use this as an analytic method?
No,
or
the whole idea
already constructed after this method.
The whole I started with this sort of a equation. This is the kind of idea I started.
Yeah, but this is the polyphonic. Can we go to now illustration 3 back just for
illustration 3.
Yeah. So when you compose this piece, so you constructed this after this method, did these blocks and put them together.
Yeah. Well, this is exactly where I'm getting to. So I apply 4 different rules here to put them together.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at continuous voice leading here.
Yeah.
For one thing.
Yeah, but you use this bi-hexaphonic system as a composition method, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it right? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I use the HXL, the horizontal thing that approaches dodecaphone.
Yeah.
As it is here also, well, there are 2 Fs, but that's one thing. And then the counterpointal constraints, whatever are there. But I go back here because I'm talking about the very same thing here. What happens with this fixed phrase and the flexible phrase is that I have 2 things. That the other one modulates the other one, and it's exactly why this the composition of the flexible one is very interesting, because it's ruled by the horizontal and vertical exhausting rules, but also the voice leading and the counterpoint and other constraints there. So it's sort of a semi-algorithmic basically that situation. If you want to, as I want to comply with all these rules, it helps a lot to formulate this, to do the adaptation. It's but it leaves just enough room for intuition and creativity. So once more, I'm repeating myself, but here I'm at the point where there's a bunch of rules that defines the good continuation and a good phrase, and what then happens is that they start to interact. What I use as the flexible phrase, or flexus, I like to call it. Then I can, in the next turn, I can use it as a cantus firmus, or the fixed phrase, and then it calls for another modulation in the next phrase. And I was let me see the schedule. I was hoping to be able to show what I'm working right now in practice.
No, please.
Yeah, please. Prove them.
Because
And do we hear something?
yes.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
But as I understand, you don't have any live performance, so you use playback.
Yeah,
in
that's
this
right.
moment. Because also players can give some kind of
Agogix
and
things.
There's one more thing, because before I go to this composition project right now. So the setting of the fixus and flexus can be expressed as an equation. So the length of a phrase could be 68, and it can be made so that there are, which I will show you soon, that there are 12 patterns of 5/8 in the fixed phrase, and 5 patterns of 12, which are subdivided to 3 and 4 and 5/8 in the other one.
So some kind of modal rhythmics also.
That's right, yeah.
So
Or wavelengths.
Kind of isorhythmical structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can them as wavelengths that meet each other at certain frequencies. So asynchrony in the pattern level, but synchrony in the and then I can pile up these to hierarchically. There could be. This is an example of composition which doesn't exist yet, where there's a phrase length given, and it consists of these two kinds of counter settings of phrases.
Okay. Some kind of counterpoint of rhythmical, modal rhythmical structures.
Yes.
Okay.
Or asynchronic polyphony. Here's a ready piece. This is a I call this saltatio uno. This is supposedly a.
You send it this? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And then after that is the beginning of the next one. But I play the ready one just to make a break. Actually, 4 dodecaphones here, basically rows. Okay, sorry for the break.
How can play that with pedals? Or 1 half?
Oh, sorry.
Is there 2 half players or 1 half player?
1.
In your piece, what is the set for you? It is flute, 2 harps, and violoncello.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise it's not possible to play these things on a diatonic instrument.
Yeah.
You know, with the pedals, so they can have F sharp or F, but not at the same time.
You need two art players, definitely. Yeah.
Estonian Kannel is the best instrument.
Estonian Kannel is not low enough. I think Estonian Kannel has the lowest.
Finnish Kannel is much.
Not lowest note, even if the lower Kannels they have A2, so this G is too low for.
Kas maatriksi kandle või neid arpe ei ole veel tehtud? Kindlasti
On muidugi.
Eestis pole.
Vabandust.
Et chromatic harps are...
No, they are not existing.
Võiks ikka juba olla.
The harp is chromatic, but they have the diatonic scale, and then they are tuned in C flat, D flat, E flat, F flat, G flat, A flat, B flat, and then they can higher the pitch in 2 steps. So from the C flat we can put it to C, and then from the C they can put it to C sharp. And you have a lot of restriction in writing for harp. So I think if you have 2 harps, one for the first line and the other player for the other, then it's something possible, but I think it's quite demanding.
Yeah, or some other instrument.
One for pink and one for green, and it's all, no problem, absolutely. Of course, 2 harps playing different scales and without any pedals.
Yeah, but then we have to order, so in one row is only pink, and the other row is only green.
Yeah. And it is absolutely different problem.
Yeah, but that we have to think about. If you compose for real instruments, there are a lot of more than only pitch collections.
Yeah, you're absolutely right here. It's a sketch.
Yeah.
But
it's partiziell.
This is the danger of our nowadays systems. We can everything here. Look, it sounds nice or more or less nice with these synthesizers behind the notation software.
But it sounds very kind.
Yeah.
I think very this kind of
very
this kind of
I very much enjoy
impressionistic or this Shivanovsky or something. Yeah, it sounds very kind.
I'm pretty sure nobody heard it, or everybody heard it more or less diatonic.
No.
No.
No diatonic.
Okay.
But you can put stuff hanging there, as you say, that you have an expression that all the listeners can actually hang in there, whatever they want to hear.
Yes. Yeah.
But I hear this very whole tone music. So because it is basic of your music. So it's very Debussy like or something.
Yeah.
So
a bit between Debussy and even maybe late romanticism. If you have this chords from the halves from the beginning, so it is like a late chromatic romanticism.
Actually, Mauri has already composed to my last short film.
Yes.
By the way, so it is already.
And there's also harp music that is going to be that I have done through with the harpist. It works, but here's just and this is I intend to be the last thing if this gets too late. But I'll just work on how this works. Here's the fixus again. I'll play the fixus alone. It's a row.
Okay.
And there's
Very nice.
Together with the flexus. What I intend is this tension, to build this tension between these two different
Contrapunto.
This is the very idea of what I mean with asynchronous polyphony. But what happens here then is that I add an other voice and composing the flute or the upper of the harp. There's a lot of there are a lot of constraints doing this. So when I do this, it's in a way it's really easy because these constraints drive me like half algorithmically. But I'm still able to do the gesture and the expressive part of it. So.
But you still use traditional counterpoint voice leading ideas.
Yes.
You're going against each other, going parallelly. Also, you still use these principles.
Yeah, maybe I grow out of them someday, but
okay.
I think you cannot come out because that are the physical possibilities. If you have two voices, you can go in parallel, if you go opposite there, you can one hold, the other is moving. So this is quite logistics. So.
But in a way, this is my research project where my hypothesis is that I can do this with this Bi-hexaphonic setting. I can do this kind of polyphony, but also there's one more fundamental reason, because there are no chord functions to follow like in Bach or some.
And it seems also you are relatively free in the vertical.
Yeah, that's right.
So that you don't avoid any interval or any chord.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That invites the polyphony.
This is this type of contemporary free.
But it is very general in whatever modal music. So every things sound very well together. It's modal music.
Yeah.
You can make whatever, all sounds.
Yeah.
Currently.
And that's if everything sounds well, you need to have a rationale there, and I get the rationale from the polyphony, because the horizontal lines need to be coherent.
Yes, of course.
Then it doesn't matter what I pile up as a chord.
Do we have still some types of questions?
Yeah.
Because also if I was thinking that maybe, I'm not sure if I'm asked maybe the same questions like last year. I mean, what's amazing your presentation last year, but the year is like 100 years, I don't remember. And so what I was wondering, so you define this bi-hexaphony, but of course it would be interesting to define some sort of tri-tetraphony.
Well, Hauer was one of these people proposing this, and there have been many others. But why?
But why bi-hexaphony? It's the same question. So because we can have 3 sets of pitches. One is C, E flat, G flat, and A. Then the next is C sharp, E, G, and B flat, and the third one is D, F, A flat, and B. What then you can mark that with 3 different colors.
I know, but I don't know why I should do that.
It's a different composition method, and you get music what maybe sounds different from this music.
I know, but that's my next project. When I'm about 80, I'll start that.
Of course, the next step would be tetraphony, but tetraphony is partly overlapping with Bi-hexaphony. Yeah. And the other thing, what I was thinking, so because I am here in Estonia, the free who deals with microtonalities. So, for instance, do you know, for instance, a composer like Ivan Vishnegradsky? Have you heard about him?
I have heard, yes.
Yeah, and so most known is this are these pieces he composed for very different scale system. Was most known is the this quartatone, 24 preludes for quartatone. Of course, quartatone piano is a very, very rare. They have it maybe in Prague in some museum. So often these preludes can be played by, if you tune one piano quartatone down, and then we can, for instance, we can, I don't know how we have to say it, then we have inherent in these two pianos, we have already this, we can say a bi-dodecaphony. We have a bi-dodecaphony, but with this bi-dodecaphony, it is would be very strange. If you stick in one, then everything sounds familiar. Then you stick in the other, it's a bit shifted, sounds familiar.
It's related to this, isn't it?
I just think if we have 24 pitches instead of 12,
Yeah.
and then we split them also in two, then we have two dodecaphonic scales in a quartatone apart from each other.
Yeah.
So and then it will really strangely happen that if we make chords from both of them, then the chords are very unfamiliar. And this is very problematic and a very strange behavior, just for as Western playing, of course. If we are inside of one of this dodecaphony, then it's normal. But if we mix them up together, and then we come to completely new relationships. And so, especially if I would personally propose, or I think I have my doubts to use 24 EDO or this 20 quartatone scales, just prove this thing.
Yeah,
but in this case, I would prevent from this bi-dodecaphone because it is too harsh, and it's better to mix it, to have. Otherwise, you never will. If you stick only chords in one, then you have only normal chords. And so, and if you see these wonderful Vishnegradsky preludes, so they are playable with two pianos, but of course sometimes the melody goes or things go through the different pianos.
Pia,
I was just thinking that could you still say something about if we go beyond the notation itself and these rules? That what I know that you've been working like on and which you touched a little bit here is exactly this level of experience. So what are the rules that in your mind guide the perception of, you mentioned Western music, people who have been born with the Western music. What are the cognitive or psychological rules that guide and allow, interpretation of your music?
There are known rules like the Gestalt perception rules that seem to be very robust in different fields. Like they started with visual fields, but I assume that they also apply to music and voices. That you connect something that comes here and something that comes here if they are in a relationship that they make a good continuation. And I'm sure you know these Gestalt laws there. I'm actually referring to them in this paper. If you want to read it afterwards, that's for one thing. But basically, I'm making the assumption that the Western diatonic culture is behind every year, more or less. We here might be exceptions because we are used to different music styles and non-diatonic and micro intervals and things, but that's my assumption that we have this very strong old tradition behind us, and I did talk about this last year. I do remember, but you can also find these kinds of what I call transitive intervals or hints at dominant relationships in Schönbergi or wherever. If you look at them, and here's a sketch of 3 different underlying dominant tonic relationships in Schönbergi. But then I'm speculating with the idea of a sequence of dominance, which is a very classical case. It means like the circle of fifths, which is everywhere in Baroque, and it's everywhere in Mozart. It's everywhere, and I may be wrong, and this is an empirical question that you use this, and it always connects with dodecaphony actually. It's goes with chromatic scale, and my assumption is that the ear transfers this idea of descending fifths in the bass, and hears it almost if you hear a sequence of dodecaphony. You try to explain it in terms of circle of fifths or dominance. Yes?
I think it could work if you have some, it must not be fifth step, but if you have in the bass line large step down, a bit smaller step up, large step down, a bit smaller step down, you have this zigzag in the bass line that is enough for us as Western trained musicians.
Exactly. And that's also the origin of the Bi-hexaphonic. The zigzags define actually the other end of the zigzag. Gives the other hexaphone, and the other one gives the other one.
I found even in Poland here's a possibility how to do this chain of fifths. Okay, there are not fifths, so there's some sort of quotation mark dominant chains. In Poland, yes, in this scale it's possible.
And I may be totally wrong, but I've been wondering why Alban Berg did this thing,
the empty strings of the violin.
Yeah.
So this is the empty strings of the violin, and also the row he used for this is in church, I think.
Yes, but also he was playing with this rose or something like rose in his mind, and this kind of fifths they arise naturally from that material in the same way, according to my hypothesis.
Of course, generally, if you have a chain of fifths, the fifth or the fourth interval is beside the chromatic scale the only interval, beside the semitone, is the only interval you can reach with the same step every pitch. So you can have 12 fourths after each other, have all 12 notes. You can 12 fifths, and you have but in the certain equal temperament system. You cannot chain minor thirds, you cannot chain major thirds. You are much quicker end up in the same pitch.
Yes, but what I see, and as I read Schönbergi, he also saw a continuum from the tradition, and I don't see him saying that there is no relationship in terms of fifths, for example.
Yeah.
It's sort of a very likely and possible perceptual mechanism. But okay, I'm basically done saying what I planned to, but I say much more in this paper if you want to read it.
Can we publish this in our homepage, or have you
Yes.
have you some plans with this? You want to publish officially in some place, or?
I started writing it for myself and basically for you, because I
Yeah.
started it a year ago here. But yes,
kas mingi muusika või selline võiks avaldada?
Ja, tähendab, räägime sellest,
Ja,
let's
okay.
talk about this
Later.
later. I would see it should be really formalized as a real research article, and then it should be submitted to a journal or so, and what we could maybe put on our website is some snippets or some fragments also, not to give out everything, because it's still a...
Yes, because it has to be, if it goes to a journal, it has to
Exactly.
be like never published before.
Yeah, this requirement can be there, so that's why let's be careful with publishing, but let's we can discuss it, and then you can say what you want, where you would like to see it, and
yeah. I haven't thought of it. I haven't even Googled up journals for this, but
Yeah.
I have written it with references and I would be writing another article.
It's very valuable material, and because we don't have not so much research about dodecaphony in Estonia, so not too much. So we have some Mart Humal and it finished this list. Mart Jansson and maybe some, but it finished now.
Maybe has something.
Are is more model, but maybe Are is interested because here is some kind of in your style. Are Tool, for example, is researched Eduard Oja harmonies, and it is also some kind of in between of functional and modal words. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the comments.
Just one thought else, that you speak about dominant, etc., so which is very well known to as functional harmonic system of classical music, but then I see different voice leadings. You have this interval system, etc. So I would go, and Arnold speaks about modality. I would go more far back to history and think about clausula in Renaissance music, clausula in different voices, and then later were combined together to cadences. So that's why I would rather look at it from a rather surface level, also as a listener from a surface level. If minor second is going down, then I have the feeling that something is, attention is resolved also. If an interval step from down to up, then I have a feel of relaxation, etc. So, but it takes place in one voice, in the second, in the third voice. And if you stress too much the dominant and tonic terms, then you will be drawn into the classical music era, and then you will get criticized why you think like this, how you define it, etc.
No,
you say no.
Because I'm not thinking in these terms. I'm talking about
Yeah, but
potential
the problem that the
perceptual.
journalist will reject you for it.
And
I don't even see, yeah.
And I'm talking only strictly about quasi-dominance or quasi-dominance.
Yeah.
We have to
very
very carefully to design it, because otherwise a journal like Muusika will reject that
Yes,
that
of course.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
It's a different. It's a
Press
different
Muusika,
language.
not say God.
Yeah, but Hans has experiences how people may react to new things that incorporates all
Because they are very conservative.
What about a photo, lasting a photo just against, for example,
you want to
background?
stage
Yes,
a photo, yeah.
yes, everybody
Okay.
here.
Okay, let's do it.
I think this to not take this
Okay, maybe.
track here. Oh, yeah, but don't take or there. Yeah, it's Pärnu is a good place here.
It's again. Okay.
Very good because we need also don't.
Maybe let us go. This is quite dark.